Great. There's always that fun lag time too, when you're like, it's setting your meeting up and you're already live, and then like the
You're
beginning of your
ready.
video is like,
And those drive me crazy too. When I was like, you didn't know, and then it happened to me. It's like, oh yeah, now I see how that can happen. That's a bummer.
okay. All right, here we go. We are rocking and rolling. So hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Vihil Vigil, your International Women's Empowerment Business Coach, founder and creator of the Empowerment Empire, and your gracious host for the monthly International Women in Business Mastermind. This program has been going strong for 4 years now. I can't believe we've been doing this every month for 4 years. And it's just phenomenal. It's a really great opportunity for us to be able to get to know one another as businesswomen, as entrepreneurs. Many of us are moms, many of us are single moms, many of us are always doing the pivot dance. And this just gives us a really great opportunity to pause and really focus on learning new, innovative essentials to growing and managing our organizations, our businesses, our nonprofits, our, even for this particular presentation by this amazing woman, LaVonne Shields, which we will soon introduce to you, is even managing our personal lives. So we're going to talk about, all things accounting and accountability. And I think today is just one of those really important conversations that I was just speaking with our special guest before we went live on how we can never get enough of this type of information. It's something that we are oftentimes not raised to know about. We are oftentimes excluded from the conversation because we are women, because of our cultures, because of whatever reason. There are so many of us, self-included, that grew up not being included in those money conversations on, how we can best set ourselves up for financial success. So I would like to introduce our phenomenal guest speaker for the day. And let me go ahead and hop over so that I can share with you all of the amazing things that this woman is about. Ms. LaVonne Shields is the CEO of Management Consultants of America. As an accounting strategist and business accountability coach, accountability with account in all upper caps, she specializes in training and consulting business owners to help them gain peace of mind and relieve stress associated with running a company, all while improving the bottom line. Because let's face it, if we're not making money, we're not in business, and so many things. Yeah. There's so many things we could follow up with. So she created Accountability, a specialized training and system that helps to engage business owners into the financial management of their business and seamlessly integrate their accounting into their operations. LaVonne holds a bachelor's degree in accounting, is a QuickBooks ProAdvisor, is a registered tax preparer with the state of California. She also serves as a business consultant and trainer for the Inland Empire Women Business Center and the Inland Empire Small Business Development Center. Also, she is a sought-after guest speaker and a speaker on all things accounting and accountability. And I was able to meet this phenomenal woman through a program I participated in as a member of the National Latina Business Women's Association. The Inland Empire chapter produced a phenomenal program to really elevate Latinas in business and to share with us phenomenal resources that we could really utilize and implement instantly into our businesses, both as a business professional in our personal lives and as a business owner and as entrepreneurs. So thank you so very much for joining me today, LaVonne. I truly, truly appreciate your time. And thank you so much for joining us as our special guest.
Oh, thank you. I am so honored to be here. I enjoy having this conversation, and I look forward to having more conversations like this with as many people, because as you said, this is a great conversation. There's never really enough information to add to it or to have about it. It's an ongoing conversation. So I'm honored to be here and have an opportunity to share, at least from my perspective, a way of being able to integrate accounting into the operations of business.
Thank you, because we need you. I know that so LaVonne is going to be presenting us with one of her phenomenal presentations. And so while she's working out, getting ready to share her screen, I just wanted to really encourage you, if you are watching this video live on social media, please comment in our chat any questions that you may have about something that she may say, about a strategy that she might introduce, that something would be new to you. And then towards the end of the program, we'll talk about how you can really get in touch with her. I've already posted in the information for this program, her email address, LaVonne@accountingstrong.com. I will be posting information in our online social media links here. And then at the conclusion of our program, don't forget, we are uploading all of our International Women in Business Mastermind programs to our new YouTube channel, courtesy of the Empowerment Empire. So you'll be able to go there and see all of the recordings and the video programming that we have been producing over the last year and a half. So with that, let me go ahead and turn the stage over to our guest speaker, Ms. LaVonne Shields, to get us on board with accounting for our businesses and how to be the best non-accountant for our business that we can be.
So we see the actual presentation slide, because sometimes people will show the previous slide and that drives me crazy. So I am happy for that. And I love that you have this organization, you have this opportunity for women in business. So this is so great. And again, I am so honored to be a part of that. And as she said, you have questions, if you're watching this live, please feel free to throw them out there. I'm always about making sure that if you're going to spend your time at an accounting presentation, like seriously, this is probably not what you thought you were going to be getting into on a Wednesday afternoon for lunch. If you decided to say, hey, let's give it a whirl and see what's going to happen, I want to make sure that it's beneficial to you and that you walk away with at least a new perspective, hopefully, on that. So, all right, let's get into it. Accounting for the non-accountants. As she said, my name is LaVonne Shields. I am an accounting strategist and business accountability coach. A little bit about me. I started managing money at the age of 9. I knew this was something that I really, really wanted to do. Starts with a very interesting Girl Scout cookie story. Yes, I was a Girl Scout. No, I didn't go all the way up. I stopped at that.
Leader over here.
And so just to be fair, I stopped at brownie, which is that horrible brown outfit. Like that was just wrong to make.
That's where we're at right now. We went from the super cute little daisy blue to the brown
horrible brown dress. Oh my goodness.
We're gonna put lots of patches on it to make it nice.
Yeah, exactly. So what happened was, it was that wonderful time of the year. I like to call it legal crack sales. Others might call it Girl Scout cookie time. And my dad took me to my troop and he paid our fundraising requirements. He just went ahead and paid for it, and then bought cases of cookies directly from our troop and looked at me and told me, whatever you sell, you get to keep the cash. Well, I love that. That's great. So I ate almost all the chocolate chip, because I mean, come on, it's the chocolate chip cookie. You can't not, right? They're already paid for, so why not? So I ate the chocolate chip. I sold the rest, but I had cash. And that was the start of this conversation for me, as far as being able to keep track of it. So I had one of those organizers that had the little financial section in it.
Nice.
Yes, at 9, I had the organizer with the financial section and walking all around. I would keep track. Yeah, I mean, I started keeping track, and it was so fascinating that I could see what I had. And then when I would go hang out at the mall, go do things, I knew I had options, as opposed to, looking at, like, can I get cookies and an orange bang? Can I go to the movies? Can I buy this stuff? I had choices, and that was so fascinating to me. And that led me into getting my degree in accounting, and I wanted to get more knowledge on how to best support businesses when it comes to accounting. So I got registered as a tax preparer, started using the QuickBooks software, been using that for 25 years. My eldest will be 26 this year. So I've been using it that long. And then in addition to that, what it was not on here, and not on my little page here or in my bio, is I'm also certified in Neuro-Linguistic programming. That came as a kind of a fluke. I went into it because I wanted to learn how to better connect with people when I'm talking to them and building my business. But I realized it's a great tool for me to have when I'm helping people make that mental transition in their businesses from the technician to the CEO and how to do that. And so we'll go a little bit deeper into that next. So like I said, I'm happy I'm here. I hope this is beneficial, and please feel free to throw questions into the chat so that we can make sure that you walk away with some information. At bare minimum, you'll be entertained. At hopefully you can also get some beneficial information. So E-Myth, my favorite book on business. It was the first book that I read that really got me to understand it's not just about being someone's bookkeeper. It's really about making sure I can be an advisor. And this quote stood out for me. Most small businesses are started by a technician having an entrepreneurial seizure. We know how to do that voodoo that we do. You're the best person to make pies. You're a coach. You can do all these things that support your clients and generate cash, which is very easy to do, though people might feel it's not. Generating sales is easy. Managing the business behind how you're generating your sales is where the rubber meets the road. And this book, amazing book, a great foundational book. I think that it should be, for everybody going into business, start here because it breaks it down on how to go from, again, knowing how to do something that generates money to understanding the business behind it. So after this, I realized, okay, so it's time to really think about what business really is. And the most important law of business is that it's a game. It's a sport. It's something to be played. But it's a game of human behavior. This is where people kind of mix it up. It's about understanding that your role as the CEO of your organization is to understand the numbers. Accounting, and this is not me being biased because this is what I do for a living. Accounting is the language of business. It's the only way that we can take nail salons and business coaching and banking and insurance and all those things and put them into one bucket to be able to determine success versus needs for improvement. I don't want to use the word failure, needs for improvement. And so your role is to be able to use your accounting as a strategy that will hold yourself accountable as the leader of your organization for your actions. If you're going to take money out of the account, do you realize what you're sacrificing in order to do that? Or is this a strategic plan to be able to make the decisions that you're making? And accounting is a guideline or a scoreboard, so to speak, and be able to do that. So let me just kind of back up a little bit. I have 3 sons, 5 nephews. This is my little brood. You see the little girl in the middle, poor sweetie. She had all these boys. She can't have a boyfriend to save her life, and she's now like 23, right? Poor girl. So all these boys, and I was prepared for sports. I was totally prepared for that. However, I was prepared for basketball and football, 2 sports that I like. They make sense to me. There's a clock. There's pretty solid rules. We're good to go. And then one day we're sitting in my family, we had a nonprofit that we ran in honor of my dad. And we're sitting having our board meeting. And my cousin, who is her son is one of the oldest, she said, we're going to need to take over the local baseball league. And I looked at her and I looked around the room and I said, I'm the only one that took French and you're using the word we totally incorrectly. Like that is not the definition. That's not how that word works. So I need to understand what you're talking about. She's like, no, we're going to take over the league. I was like, I don't want to take over. Baseball is stupid. It's hot. I don't understand the whole strike ball. None of it makes sense to me. And there's no clock. I don't know when it's over. And it's hot. It's hot. I don't like it. And I was outnumbered. And so we took over the baseball league. I said, fine, I will run the snack bar because I don't want to have to be a part of the game. So 2 years in, 30 pounds later, we have another board meeting with the baseball league. And this should have taught me to stop going to board meetings because you don't like the way the outcome goes. We're in the board meeting and they say, hey, as board members, we all need to learn how to keep score. And again, you're using the term we totally incorrectly. That is not how you use that word. And again, I got outvoted. However, once I learned how to keep score, I learned to love and appreciate this game. I'm not saying I'm an aficionado. I can go back and give you stats for all of these players. No, that ain't it. But I can tell you right now that I will watch the game. I will appreciate the strategy. I will ask questions about what's going on. I will fully engage, whether it's youth sports, college, professional. I'm in because I found an appreciation for it. All right. So what is accounting? Accounting is how your business keeps score. I mean, there's a boring Webster definition of it that is wah, 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 and I'm not going to go there with you, but understand it is how your business keeps score. So then how do you use accounting as a strategy? So there's an accountability system that I came across over my years of working with business owners that I have learned is the best way to help with that transition from the technician of knowing how to generate sales to being the CEO of your business. What it is taking strategy plus accountability, and then you're going to get your success from that formula. So let's break it down. What is a strategy? A series of decisions designated to achieve an overall aim. You're saying, I'm going to take these steps. Yes, it's in a hypothesis format because you're usually doing something new. You should always be willing to do something new in business, but you're going to take these steps strategically. You're going to actually map them out so that you can figure out how to get to your goal. That's what's the strategy. Now let's go with accountability. What is it? It's the obligation or willingness to accept responsibility or to account for one's actions. Meaning, as the CEO of your organization, you're saying the buck stops here with me. If this didn't work out, that was because I did not educate myself well enough on my target market, on my direct cost of my providing my services or goods, on understanding what systems that I should have had in place to make my team more qualified or give them the tools necessary for them to do what they need to do to support my vision. So as the CEO of your organization, being accountable to yourself, having accountability is crucial because it's not just about your business. You have your clients who are expecting you to be there because you're the provider for them. You have your vendors who you are their client. They're expecting you to be there for them because that's how they generate their income. It's your employees or contractors who are expecting you to be able to build your business and allow them to be able to be supported by the activities of your operations. So it's really about taking it out of, I can do this very well, and turning your vision out and realizing how many people you're supporting in doing the best that you do in your business. I recently attended the Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within virtual summit. And there was this part where, I just got slapped all in the face. I was like, my goodness. He said, if money's not an issue for you, you're not giving enough of it away. Ha! Which means that in order to put yourself in a position to support people from the fruits of your labor, you got to understand how much you can do, which means you have to understand what's going on in your business. And which is going to translate into how much you can do personally. And like I said, accounting, this is not my bias. Trust me, it's not my bias. It is the language of business. And you want to learn it. You want to know how to keep score when it comes to your business. So let's talk about the accountability system and what it is. It's 5 proven steps that I have well, I'm not going to use the word perfected, but I have turned into a form of excellence in helping businesses to achieve their goals. And what it does is it helps to modify the behavior. And when I work with clients and I teach them about how to better manage their payables, it's about putting that pause from, okay, I see it, what am I going to do with it? Especially when it comes to managing cash flow, things like that. It's really about taking that time to make sure that you are making strategic decisions. So when it comes to businesses, there's 3 major challenges that owners face. The first one is unknown revenues. They have no idea how much is actually being generated in the business. They can look at their bank account and kind of see on average what's being deposited. However, money in doesn't always equal sales, just like money out doesn't always equal expenses. So there's no clarity on what the business is actually generating, which means that you don't know where to go to step up. When you're falling down, you're stressed because you're focusing on number 2, which is the fact that there's usually unsteady cash flow. You never have the money when you need it. And when you got it, you get so excited, you do something stupid. Like for me, I try not to keep cash on me because I do stupid things like buy churros. I will go up to the Del Taco right up here, less than a mile away, and I will happily drive through that drive-through and get me an order of churros if I've got $2. If I don't have $2, I'm not going to swipe my card. It's never been that necessary of a need, a fix that I need. But when you have cash, you've gone through periods where you didn't have cash, you don't have that pause moment where you're making strategic decisions. And unsteady cash flow is usually one of the major killers in business. It's not the revenue, it's the not having the cash when you need it to be able to run your business. And then number 3, unexpected and high tax liabilities. Let me break down that first word, which is the unexpected. Many people get so caught up and they say, I want to have no tax liability. Okay, that's like saying I want to live in $1 million home but have no mortgage, or not have to spend my $1 million of cash. When you went and bought those great shoes, or when you went to that amazing restaurant and the bill was $400, $500, you didn't question that. You were getting what you wanted based off of the success that you had. I can afford to go here and I can do that. Well, think of your business in the same way. You're not going to put your business in this great office space and not pay the rent. Now, that doesn't mean that you should be prepared to have this huge tax liability. No, it's about making sure that you strategically set yourself up for a tax liability that makes sense for what your business wants to do. Because having a tax liability means that you actually have a profitable business. Now, again, we're not talking about all the other things that come into play. There's credits that you can get that will reduce that tax liability. There's things you can do that don't negate the fact that you were profitable. What they do is they just allow you to reduce what you owe in taxes to the government. So knowing that you can literally reverse engineer your way into your tax liability and make strategic decisions that allow you to operate in that, that's really what it's all about. And being able to overcome these 3 challenges is how you help to make your transition, because these 3 will take you somewhere. Hand up.
Yes, ma'am. I want to pause on that. I know you are on a flow, but I just wanted to pause on that. There were several conversations that we have had throughout the various groups that I participate in on the on showing tax liability, that if you are trying to, yes, we want to try to keep as much money in our business as we can. But if we're getting ready to go for, say, a business loan, and you're not showing any profit, you're not showing any of your tax liability, you're not going to get approved. And I think that's something that we have to really continuously talk about with small business owners and with business owners in general, is especially when, you have so many of the women in a lot of our groups are, one woman shows, and they're trying to just keep everything, as much cash as possible. And can you speak to on why that's not the best idea? I know you already, touched on that, but just to touch on it again, why it's not the best idea to hold on to every dollar you have, and why you have to spend it and you have to put yourself out there so that you can continue to grow.
Right. And that's why I use that analogy of, if there's something that you want, you're going to figure out how to be able to pay for it. And if you think about the success of your business and realizing that the taxes are associated with that, because here's the bottom line of it. A tax is a fine for being successful. Bottom line. It's just like, when you want to lose weight, then you will stop. You have no problem stopping, eating the cookies, because I want to be snatched for the gods. I want all of this to be great. So no, I'm not eating that cookie. Yes, I'm going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and do that workout. I might cuss my trainer out in my mind, having images of punching them in the face the entire time, but I'm going to do those crunches. I'm going to do those push-ups. I'm going to do those things. So it's changing the mindset. And as I mentioned before, that's the shift. Changing the mindset of taxes are the devil to, hey, I'm willing to pay this amount of money in taxes for the success that I'm looking for. Because as you said, you want to go to a lender and you want to be able to show them that you have the capability of paying the loan back. that you have the capability of not only generating income, but running a business so that you have the capability of being there for the 3, 5, 30 years that they expect you to pay this loan back.
Exactly.
It's going to be important that you make that transition from, hey, I just want to pay the least amount of taxes in general. This is, again, where that shift comes into play, because as employees, of course, that's how we look at it. We're like, oh, I want to get the refund. I want to be able to put myself in a situation where I can qualify for benefits or things like that. Right. However, from a business owner, CEO mindset, it's really about how can I put myself in a space where I can be successful and still have low bills. You're not going to intentionally put yourself in a space where you can't afford your bills, and understand a tax is one of your bills. It's just a part of it. Again, you have the control on how to reverse engineer your way into it. And here's the other part that people tend to not understand. The tax code is written for you to win. You just need to know how to play it. You need to know how to utilize it to the best of your ability. This is why I developed such a great appreciation for baseball once I learned it. It is about understanding that there's going to be a sacrifice. It's going to be a sacrifice, but because we're not going up against an actual clock, we have the ability to sacrifice that and focus on what's going to be coming up next. And when you take that mentality, when you turn and look at your business as a game to be played, that no one is giving you a clock on how long you can play it, you play it until you win, or you play it until you no longer want to play it. And so when you take that mindset and shift it, it changes the deal. So if you can change how you see taxes as, I don't want to have to pay any, to I'm okay with paying this amount, and let me put cash aside each month or each quarter to be able to cover that, so that I can show that I'm profitable, so that I can be prepared for opportunities that are coming my way, so that I can take my business to that next level. Right. Game changer. Whole thing changes.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Oh, no
I really
problem.
like those analogies that you throw out there.
Thank you. Thank you. So these 3 challenges, what happens is when a business owner is dealing with these challenges, it results in them being unorganized. You have no idea where your receipts are. You have no idea where your statements are. You have no idea what's going on in your business at all. You're usually overworked because you're focused on, okay, I need sales, I need sales, I need sales. And then you have to go back and do the work and do the work and do the work. And then it becomes this cycle of you're working 24 hours a day, which becomes that, the running joke that they say, you left a 9 to 5 job to stop working 40 hours a week just so that you can work 80 hours a week for yourself, right? It's that catch-22. It's one thing to be busy and productive. It's another thing to be overworked. And then you end up being stressed and anxious. You're just stressed out, and that's where you lose the passion for that thing you do. Yes, some people get into business just for the money. However, the ones that have the most longevity, the ones that are really in it to win it, those are the ones that are doing it because of their passion. And when that passion gets diminished, when it goes down because you're unorganized, you're overworked, you're stressed, you've got no idea what's going on in your business, then that's where it becomes a new job that you shackled yourself to. You shackled yourself to it, and then most times you end up in a position where you close your business down. You stop doing that thing that you were doing that was providing support for the people that you were hoping to support, because you saw there was a gap in your industry. These moms need support. These types of businesses need support in their businesses. These clients are looking for me to fill that gap that they're not getting anywhere else. And when you lose that passion for that purpose, then all of this becomes for naught. And next thing you know, you look up and you feel as though you've wasted time, or worse, you had to close your business. And now all those people who were relying on you to support them, they no longer can rely on you for that. And that's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid that. All right, enough doom and gloom. Let's get into the system. Okay. So there's 5 parts to the system. It starts with identify, collect, analyze, strategize, and then implement. Those are the 5 parts, and we're going to go deeper into that one. But you get these 5 parts down, you are now able to fully hold yourself accountable to your business, as well as those that you bring into your business, because now you're very clear on what you're expecting them to do, and you can make sure that they're doing it, or you can replace them if necessary. Whatever has to happen, right? So let's start with identifying. We're trying to figure out, what are we tracking? What is it that we're looking to do? And then what are our goals? So being clear on that. It's so funny. I had a conversation with one of my coaches today, and he was like, okay, I get you on clarity. Just make sure that it's not being the thing that stops you from making decisions to move forward. So you want to have enough to where you're clear and give you the confidence to be the business owner that you are, the CEO, but boss that you are, and go out and make decisions. So when we're talking about identify, like I said, we're talking about what are you tracking and what are your goals and how are you making sure you're measuring up to those goals. So when we're talking about tracking, we're talking about the categories, or from how I learned it in accounting, your chart of accounts. So we're talking about, how does your money move? Do you know where it's all going? And do you understand how to categorize them so it'll show you from the story point of what's going on in your business? Is putting a dollar value on your decisions. Hey, I go and get Starbucks every day, or I'm paying for this marketing platform, or I have this person on salary. Okay, what's the dollar? How is that truly impacting your overall bottom line when it comes to your business? These are the items, the line items that pop up on your financial reports, which are the story, the scoreboard to your business. They're used to help to develop your key performance indicators, or KPIs. And then it also be based off of your tax return. Let's go back to that lovely tax conversation again, right? So taxes are laws. And what the IRS has told us is these are the laws. When you go outside of the laws, you're breaking the laws. And I can tell you right now, I don't look good in orange. It is not in my color wheel. It's not. And only certain shades of blue. And if you get where I'm going with that, those are jail and prison colors. So if I can't wear white and get great meds and take wonderful naps, I ain't doing it. Okay. I constantly laying little dots and little seeds for a temporary insanity defense, because I don't look good in orange. I'm not doing it. It ain't happening. So what you want to do is look at how the IRS has judged or has defined the tax laws and figure out where you fit into it. Because here's the thing, just like any other law, there are gray areas to argue your defense. It's just about making sure it makes sense. So for example, manslaughter, self-defense. It's not self-defense if you shot them in the back when they're running away from you. You can't argue that flat out. You can't say this is a business lunch when it falls in line on a day that you took your family. It was Mother's Day and you decided to take your family, out for dinner. Not a business deduction. However, if you put yourself on salary and you pay yourself enough money to be able to afford those things out of your personal account, the salary on the business side is deductible, and you were still able to take your family to a nice meal to celebrate the holiday. Strategy. And it's a constantly moving target, which means that you're not lumped into one thing. You don't have to just do it this way. The laws change. So it's not saying that you need to learn the laws. It's that you want to know enough questions to ask your tax preparer, your accountant, where do I fit based off of what I need to accomplish, what I'm looking to accomplish in my business. So there is a publication that the IRS updates on a regular basis, is publication 535. And what that is that they describe the definitions of business expenses. That works for any entity. These are just the general laws that you're working within, because when it comes to it being a business deduction, 2 requirements. Is it ordinary and is it necessary? Once you get that out of the way, we go back into, okay, so what is the structure of your business so that we can identify what your categories are going to be, how your money's moving, and then based off of your entity, we'll decide how we're going to structure this out, because the laws, not that they change, they just are adjusted based off of the entity style you have. It's almost like, going back to the sports metaphor, youth sports, there's rules based off of, age. Hey, we're not going to make a 4-year-old run the same length we're going to have the 14-year-old run, right? So as a sole proprietor, there's some cushions around you. Yes, there's some additional costs for that, but yes, there's some cushions around you versus if you're operating as a corporation. So same thing for partnership, LLC, there's a different form for each entity type, and you want to make sure that you can put yourself into that bucket that fits. Another analogy I like to use with people, because everybody's like, can I use this tax strategy? I heard I can pay my kids up to $12,000 and it's deductible. And I think all that's great. But look at taxes from this standpoint. Think of it like high fashion. On the little skinny model that doesn't have the extra curves, that's great. That's not going to look great on me. I can't put nothing backless or strapless on this body at all. I need support. I need things to go in there. However, if I find the right outfit that looks best for my body type, then I'm rocking it. I'm rocking it well. So you want to find the strategies that work best for you. And again, you being the CEO, you want to make sure that you're asking the right questions so that you can guide your business. So there's a different types of categories or accounts. They're based off of the two major financial reports, your profit and loss or income statement. Those are interchangeable, and your balance sheet. So your profit and loss accounts, we're talking about your income streams, and everything should be in broad standpoint, especially when we're talking about you putting this information into an accounting software. So you're talking about your major streams of income, not the specific things that you sell, but your major streams of income, your direct costs, which is what does it cost for you to generate that income. It's a little trickier for those of us who are service-based, but we're talking about what did you have to pay in order to generate your income, and then your operating expenses, which is everything else that's left over. And then you have your balance sheet account, which is where we're talking about your assets. What do you own that has value? Your cash. If you're someone who does billing, your accounts receivable, your equipment, which gets a little tricky because if you got that great laptop from eBay and you got it at a discount, that's not an asset. It's not. It's just $200 you paid it as an expense. But if you went and you got a financing for this huge piece of equipment that allows you to print out hundreds of thousands of pieces of materials a year, then that's an asset. That's something you can sell that someone will give you back, if you give you money for, that you can borrow against so that you can solve a cash flow problem. Your liabilities, what do you owe? You know, what are the bills that are coming in that you have net 30 to pay, net 15 to pay? You don't have to pay it right now. What are the lines of credit, the credit cards, the loans? What are the balances of the things that you owe outside sources? And then your equity, which has a couple different moving parts to it, is how much have you put into the business yourself as an investor or as an owner? How much have you pulled out of the business as an investor and owner that's not associated with it being a loan or a direct reimbursement cost, as well as the net income of your business right now and over the life of your business, which is called the retained earnings. So by understanding when you're making a decision, what's being affected, it changes how you make the decision. So if I just choose to pull cash out of my business and I don't know that I assume that it's an expense, and you get to the end of the year like, hey, I have no cash, so therefore I have no tax liability because I clearly didn't make any money. You come meet with somebody like me and I go, okay, so this isn't a deduction, this isn't a deduction. So what you thought was a no tax liability situation has turned into a this tax liability situation. And by not knowing where what's being affected, then you're not accurately running your business based off of what's actually happening. It's muddy waters. It's no way of having the clarity if you don't know how to categorize things correctly and don't know how to use the financial reports for that. I actually teach a workshop through the Women's Business Center. It's called The Bottom Line, where we actually break down the financial reports. We go way deeper than what I do in this presentation. So if there's ever a question on that one, you can either give me a call or definitely check out some of the other workshops that I offer where we take some of these pieces and we break them down a little bit more. But if you can understand which account or category goes on which financial report, you are already way ahead of the game. You've transitioned from fun rec ball to maybe high school, college ball, where there's some, you're not necessarily paying to play, but you're definitely getting some benefits for being a good player, if that makes sense. So you definitely want to make sure you have an understanding of what's happening so you can make better decisions. The next part of the 5 parts process is to collect. Where's your backup documentation? Where is this being stored? Because if it's up here, not a good place. I can tell you right now, my brain is like Kelly Bundy's, and I might be dating myself. Sometimes when information goes in and doesn't have a place to really settle in, something else gets kicked out. I might look at one of my sons and go, I cannot remember your name right now, but I need you to go get my water. Can you do that for me? Okay. So you want to have a place where all this is going. A big part of being able to play from a tax standpoint, the game is having your backup. If you can't produce backup, if you can't produce anything that can support your tax argument, because remember, this is law, your tax defense, then you've got a problem. You got a problem. So you want to create some sort of housing unit for what it is. Now, I know I mentioned that I am a QuickBooks ProAdvisor. I've been using the software for years. I'm a creature of habit. Is one of the best ones out there when it first launched for helping small non-accounting people do accounting work, because it was like picture-based. I was like, oh, it's like Pictionary. It's got a picture of a check. So that's a check. It's got a picture of the old school deposit slip. That's a deposit. So it was great for that. However, find the thing that you want. But let me just go over some of the key parts of having an accounting system. Not only does it just give you the access to everything, but it houses your history of your business. Now you can see what you've done in the past and be able to use that to move forward. So that means it's going to allow you to manage what's going on in your present, and what's going to help you contribute to how do I project and plan for the future. People don't like the word budget. It's like the same as the word diet. It's like you're telling me I'm being restricted. So I like to help people transition into your forecast. It's your plan. You're saying, I want to be the size 12, perfect boobs and all that kind of stuff. So how are we going to get there, right? How are we going to get there? Your accounting software, when it comes to your business, is going to be a crucial tool for that. Now, understand there's a lot of them out there. However, not all of them are actually accounting softwares. As my sister likes to say, it's a Decepticon. It's lying to you. It's not accurate. So there's three major components of an actual accounting software. So like I said, no matter what software you use, as long as it works for you and your business and your industry, then go for it. But understand, it needs to be able to record all of your transactions, whether you use your credit card, your debit card, you wrote checks, you have a loan, all of those things need to be able to be tracked in that system. If it's only generating your invoices, but it's not allowing you to account for when you use your personal money to pay for business expenses, if we can't put all of those things into that bucket, it's not an accounting software. Reconcile, to be able to verify that your human data entry matches to what hit the bank statement so that you are working with true balances. If you can't reconcile and verify that you've got the right information, it's not an accounting software. It's important that it's able to generate financial reports, not just those main two that we talked about, your profit and loss and your balance sheet, but can it give you a list of, if you're someone who invoices your clients, can it give you a detailed list of who owes you and how much and for how long? On the reverse side, can it give you a list of who you owe, how much, and for how long? Can it give you a breakdown of where all this information is coming from? So there's several different ways of viewing it. And if your accounting software doesn't give you all those viewpoints, then it's not. And you should definitely make it a point to speak to someone to figure out, okay, what's the best software that I need right now? And again, you can only do the best you can with the tools you have. However, the moment you get to a point where you're able to ask more from your business, from your financial reports, is when you're going to want to really make sure that you are choosing the right software for what you do, right? So we get all this information and we get it collected into our system so that we can generate the reports, so we can analyze it. We want to know, what is the data telling us? Are we hitting our goals? Are we even tracking things correctly? I'm working with a client right now who was so used to using a very detailed spreadsheet to run her entire organization, and we're transitioning into QuickBooks, and there are parameters. It's an off-the-shelf software. It's like buying an outfit off the rack. They didn't take into consideration that I'm a little heavier up top, not so much at the bottom, kind of thing, right? So we're actually going through and making sure that we can customize this software to shoot her the information that she's used to seeing it as, and then allowing her to release the need to be so minuscule and micro in her spreadsheet. She can still see that same data from QuickBooks. So we want to make sure that we understand, what's happening, and be able to put it into some different perspectives that not only internally you can use, but also that the outside world can relate to. Because remember, accounting is the only way we can take the restaurant, the lender, the insurance person, the lawn care person, take all those different industries and business models and determine doing well, needs for improvement. So your financial reports and ratios are the core part of your scorecards. They're showing how well you generate income and cash. And those are two different things that you're able to generate. Income is from the generation of sales. Cash is related to, are you bankable? Can someone literally invest into your business? Being able to generate cash is a core part of being able to be a business owner. Your ability to repay debt. We talked about that. You want to be able to write off everything on your tax return. Then you go to the lender and well, you have nothing left over. If you literally spent all of your money and I'm giving you more money and you have to pay me back, where is it coming from? Where is it going to come from? So it's going to let you know, are you able to repay a debt? And then it's also how you do the overall health of your business. As I said, are you doing well? Are there areas that we need to improve on? And your financial reports and ratios will show you that. And once you're able to read that and get a clear picture of what that is, now we want to know what's our next steps. This is where we do the strategy part. We want to capitalize on what's working and improve on what's not. We want to keep doing what's working well and stop doing what's not working. I mean, as simple as that sounds, I know it's a little bit more complicated in practice, but that's the bottom line of it. What's working, keep doing it, duplicate it, scale it up. What's not working, let's phase it out or stop it immediately right now and create a plan and create our projections. Now that we have our strategy, we have our game plan in place, now we want to implement it. Do we need to update our systems and processes? How do we create the accountability? How frequently are we going to be analyzing what's happening and what we're doing so that we can make sure that everything is working well and we can course correct? One of the biggest things that happens with businesses is they wait until the beginning of the current year so that they can do their report for the previous year, and then they're shocked. It's that unexpected or high tax liability. It's the, what do you mean I don't qualify for a loan because now I didn't make enough money? How did that work? Well, if you were watching it at least quarterly, you'd have been able to course correct as you go, so you didn't get to the next year where you're like, but I can't afford that tax liability, or I really need that loan. Well, it's not going to happen. It can't happen. But if you're able to look at it, like I said, at least quarterly, hopefully monthly, with every time you get a statement, that means you should be looking at your financials. If you can't course correct, then we're at that part where you're not holding yourself accountable as the leader of your organization. You're waiting until at the end of the year, well, I was working out kind of here and there, and I didn't actually quit eating the sweets. I just kind of broke it down a little bit. We don't know if that's actually working for your body style, for your, for what you're looking to do. Some people, great metabolism, they can make that plan work. But if you're not tracking what's happening, you're trying to figure out after 3 months, why am I not snatched? What happened? Well, you were double fisting the Oreos every time you had a break. So of course the whole workout thing got negated by the double stuffed Oreos that you were eating. Like, oh, okay. So let's course correct my plan and try to work that out. Right? So when we're looking at the system, it is identify. Do we know what we're tracking? Do we understand what's happening in our business? And do we know what our goals are? Collect. Do we have all of these things in a system organized? Do we have our backup documentation? Do we have our receipts? Do we have a system that's going to spit out reports and make that work? I personally am about 98% paperless. I don't like paper. It makes me sad. So I have a full-fledged system. When my computer went down last month, we were like, oh my goodness, that's why you need to have a Mac computer. I don't want a Mac computer. I like my iPhone, but I don't want a Mac computer. Like, well, now you don't have all your data. Yes, I do, because I use a cloud drive. All of my stuff gets stored on my cloud drive. So all I just need is a new system. So all my data is there. When we had the wildfires during the pandemic, my husband asked me, so if we had to evacuate, what would you take? I was like, well, besides you, any of our devices, as long as I can connect to the internet, I can recreate our entire life, because I have everything stored in our cloud drive. So we're good. So collect. Analyze. Once we have everything in a system, we wanted to spit out reports that we can then review to determine, are we doing things that work? And if we're doing things that don't work, how do we work that out? Which allows us to create that strategy. Hey, we're going to start to phase in these particular processes and systems and phase out these products or services that aren't working for us or that we're not selling. We're going to have the strategy for that, which is the fourth step. And then we're going to implement it, which is the accountability part. This is where we come in and we make sure that we are able to truly see what's happening and course correct as we go. And then you rinse and repeat. You come back and make sure, are we tracking the right things? Do we have the right systems in place for collecting our containers? Let's spit out the new reports and see what's going on. Let's create a new plan for this next quarter, this next year, these next 5 years, and then let's implement that and have the accountability. That's the system in a nutshell. And I think it's pretty simple. It's really just a matter of having the desire to want to take that next step. So after I had the big battle with, okay, God, I have to learn how to keep score when it comes to baseball. My husband, he's in this picture, he was always the winning coach for whatever division he was coaching in baseball. It didn't matter what age group, he was just great at it. And once I learned to keep score, I was able to see his strategy. Oh, he has these pitchers in this order for this game because we're going against this team. He has these players in this space because this is how they operate. When these players aren't going to be here, this is how he changes the lineup up. This is how he moves things around to make sure that everyone gets a chance to play, because in youth sports, that's a part of it. Everyone gets a chance to play. And I was really able to truly understand the game. Like I was one, I went from working the snack bar nowhere near the sport at all to now my chair is right there behind the gate between the dugout and home plate. I'm on the fence. What are you doing? Blue, that was a horrible call. I mean, I'm in there. I'm on it. I'm detailed in it. And I now was able to learn more about what was going on. My youngest son, which is also in this picture, he actually continued to play through college. And if I couldn't be at the game, he would send me the stats. And what I learned to do is ask the right questions. Hey, we won, this was the score. I know to ask, were you chasing the whole game? Or did you have a one inning where you guys were just on fire with your bats, like you were able to get going? Or did you have a pitcher who just blew it one inning and that's what happened? He'd give me his personal stats. Hey, I was 4 for 5. Ooh, what happened with that fifth one? Well, that was the first time I saw that pitcher. I've never seen a curveball like that. Oh, so does this mean you're going to now start practicing that kind of, hitting that kind of curveball? How are you going to improve your play? Right? So now that I understood the way the game is scored, I was able to appreciate all the intricacies of it, how you put all these things together and create a consistently winning team. So again, if we're using the metaphor of sports when it comes to your business, it's not about winning every play, winning every game, or even winning every season. It's about when people look back on my business, will they see me as a dynasty? Will they see me as being the game changer? Will they see me as being the one that served this group of clients? And I had these raving fans because they knew I had systems and processes that would allow me to be the best service provider or product provider for them. And when you understand the way the game is played, you can play it at such a higher level. And I'm not talking about 7, 8 figures. I'm talking about the quality of the way you play the game, the passion you're able to put into it because you understand all the pieces that go into it. And when you're there, oh my goodness, it is so much fun. So yeah, now I can look at the, baseball's coming up, like, oh, let's put that in the background. Like, oh, what's going on? What happened? Oh, really? Oh. Again, not an aficionado. I ain't going back and talking about, well, Babe Ruth stats for this, and you compare that to this Mookie Betts. No. What I can say, that was a good game. I appreciate that. That was great. So that's my goal, is to help people truly understand how to play this game of business, how to step up, hold themselves accountable as the CEOs of their organization, whether you're a sole proprietor, partnership, LLC, corporation. If this is your business, you are the one who's guiding this ship. You are the captain of this team, and you should be able to play it at its highest level. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. I have got pages of notes, and I have, so for all of you who have not, you're not familiar with LaVonne Shields, she's, I've attended several of her presentations. She's done some one-to-one consulting with me. And every time I sit down with her, the first thing I do before I sit down is I always go and grab my notebook and my pen, because there's just so much information. And I have to share with those of you who are, listening, those of you who are watching. Let me actually go ahead and do a quick screenshot so I could get your.
You want me to stop sharing?
No, don't stop sharing
okay.
yet.
Sorry.
That's okay. I wanted that one picture. I loved it. I'll wait for you to get it back on. But what I was gonna share is that I think, there we go. Let's do a 1, 2, 3. Perfect. I will share all of these photos onto our live stream, once our live stream concludes. But I think what is so important that we understand is you're not going to become an accounting expert overnight in your business, and don't let that frustrate you. I think that when we're trying to, like you were saying, run our business and do all of the things across the board, we have to do it with some grace. We have to be able to remember that we got into our businesses typically, unless we're an accounting expert, but we got into our businesses so that we can provide a service, a specialized service that we are really great at and that we're really passionate about. Okay, so we're doing that. We're putting our information out into the world. We're marketing, we're advertising, we're getting clients, we're doing work, we're getting great reviews, and we're moving forward. And I think what we have to remember is there is a back end to everything. And if you're not being cognizant of what your back end looks like when it comes to your business, then you are really, really falling short. You're really not, serving yourself in the best possible manner. And I think we work so hard to serve others when we are operating a business that we oftentimes don't serve ourselves in the same manner, with the same passion and the same drive and the same thoroughness. Give yourself the customer service that you give to others. And it starts with this. If you want to continue to grow your organization, continue to grow your business, we have to have that foundation. And now is the perfect time to start. So don't, we talked about this in May when we were doing the May Money Talks Mastermind. All month long, we talked about money in your business. And one of my, good friends, Itzel Baeza, talked about how we have to forgive ourselves for our previous money mistakes. Don't continuously beat yourself up over it day in and day out over, I've made this horrible mistake. Okay, yes, you did. However, let's move on. Consult with a business professional such as LaVonne, consult with your local banker, consult with an accountant, consult with someone who is an expert at accounting, at setting up your back-end systems, at utilizing accounting software, so you can understand what your business looks like through and through, and not just on the marketing front or not just on the client front, but that you have a good understanding on a day-to-day basis of what's in the bank, what's coming in, what's going out. I remember you had spoken previously about know your numbers. Just have a basic understanding. You don't have to be the accounting professional in your business, but you do need to make sure that your business is being professionally managed by an accountant in some way, shape, or form. Give us your closing thoughts, LaVonne, on advice to our audience. Our audience typically consists of women of color, Latinas, African-American women, Asian women, who are starting businesses or we're right around that mid-sized business area. And we are realizing, self-included, as we continue to grow, our business needs to have a greater level of transparency, especially when it comes to filing those taxes and being a good business owner. Give us some thoughts, give us some encouraging last minutes of advice to help us not be so afraid of really continuously diving into this type of information about our business.
The first is having this group is amazing. Find the support systems. In many situations, we go into business for ourselves and we assume that means that we're by ourselves. We don't realize that the struggles we're going through our sister right next to us is going through the exact same struggle, or our sister on the other side of us went through the struggle and they figured out how to get out of it. And we're sitting holed up in our space, in our woe is me space, going, oh my goodness, I can't believe I didn't do this. You know, how do I not understand this? I'm going to have to close my business down. Find your support system. Find multiple support systems, because information is going to come from different perspectives. Yeah. Know that you do not have to do this or go through this by yourself. And it's, you know, find an accountability partner, find something that someone will be accountable to you. Find your support system, because that's going to always help you take your game up to the next level. The other part of that is forgive yourself for what you didn't know. Our educational system does not teach us to be business owners. It teaches us to be educated enough so that someone can tell us what our value is, and then we build our lifestyle around that value that was presented to us. So it's okay that you didn't know what you didn't know.
Yeah.
What's the most important part of that is, since you know, now you didn't know, go out and find out the information. Find the experts, find the support system, find the resources. And there's so many of them out there. Many people have this thought in their mind that they don't want the small business owner to thrive. And that is so not true. There is literally the Small Business Administration. Granted, their definition of small business is like under 5,000 employees and under 5 million in sales. Okay, that's a lot of us. Okay, yeah. But there literally are resources that are designed that are free or low cost, that are meant to help you thrive, not just survive. So know that there are resources out there and feel comfortable asking for the support. As I mentioned, I've been a counselor and trainer at the Women's Business Center for over about 10 years now. And there's so many people, whenever we would ask, how did you find out about us? They're like, well, there was this 3 o'clock in the morning Google search trying to figure out how the hell am I going to save my business? You popped up. Now I'm in this workshop. And that's the norm for so many people. Yeah. And you don't have to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning stressing out about how you're going to build and maintain your business. Yeah. There are resources out there. So feel comfortable knowing that our society was not meant for that. However, small businesses are the backbone of our economy. Yeah. Your success is the success of our entire world. The success of our entire world. So know that your success is the success of many below you as well. So have your network, have your support system, feel comfortable asking questions. And the other part of this is what I tell a lot of my coaching clients is be confident enough to make a call. Right or wrong, make the call and work through it. It's not the failure that we want to be afraid of. It's the failure to not act that we want to be afraid of. We won't know if it works unless we try it. So be confident enough that you have enough to move forward right now. Yes, you have this 3, 5, 7, 10-year business plan. However, we can do nothing if we don't make a step right now. If we waste today, if we waste this month, if we waste this year, we're pushing back that 3-year plan, that 5-year plan, that 10-year plan. We're continuously pushing it back. And the next, you look back on your life and you go, I did not do what I meant to do. And it might be what your actual purpose is in your business. I know what I do. I'm confident that it's my purpose. And I know that when I leave this earth, I want to know that I served as many business owners as I possibly can, especially women of color. We are pushed to the side. And knowing now that we know, we're all now conscious that this has been a universal thing. We can come together and we can now be the driving force. Women are starting business at miraculous rates right now. Right. We are now the new face of business. So put on your lipstick, put on your eyelashes, let's go. Let's get out there, let's make it work. Okay. Thank you. I have a slide that shows all of my social media handles. Can I share that real quick? So you can take a screenshot of that. So let's share that.
Thank you for that. I really like how, and then to also piggyback on your mentioning of the Small Business Association, most SBAs, most Small Business Association or Small Business Development Centers have a Women's Resource Center within it. And all of their services are free. I don't know if there's been a single workshop that I have signed up for, whether it be in Sacramento where I got started, or whether it be down in San Diego where I, continue, or whether it's the other states that I have been visiting lately. And, don't be afraid to enroll, to register, and just join. You don't have to talk if you don't want to, but just give yourself that opportunity one day a week for an hour a day, to just sit and to absorb and educate yourself. Let's get
there's always a resource happen, whether it be a program, whether it be a workshop, whether it be ability to do a one-on-one. The resources are almost unlimited. And the great part about it is, this is why you want to engage in the tax conversation. This is your tax dollars at work. So the money you're putting into the system allows you to actually get it back tenfold. If you can sit down and meet with an attorney for free through the resource centers, why not? Why not, right? If I can talk to a marketing person, there's so many resources. So know that, again, because you went into business for yourself, you do not have to do it by yourself. And trust me, the government is rooting for you to win, especially as a woman of color. There are resources because they realize that we are good at this. There's actually a study that was done that says that businesses, the corporations that have women on their boards, do better than ones that don't, which is why California has an initiative about putting women on corporate boards. We're good at this. You're good at this.
Thank you so much, LaVonne. I always enjoy your expertise, your sharing of information, your passion with which you do present. I have worked a little bit in accounting years and years and years ago, and it was not as exciting as it is when I talk to you.
It wasn't as exciting when I was doing it either.
To piggyback as well on what you noted, find your support system. Forgive yourself for what you didn't know. Reach out to resources, small business development centers, small business associations, women's resource centers. Ask those questions. Ask the questions that you have rolling around. Utilize all of these Facebook groups that we participate in that are centered around entrepreneurs and business owners. Don't be afraid to ask those questions, because as LaVonne had mentioned, if you have the question, someone else is going to have it as well. So be an advocate, for positive knowledge and forward thinking when it comes to sharing of information about how we can continue to be leaders in our industries, to become leaders as business owners, to continue that trajectory forward that we like to see with women of color, women business owners, minority business owners. We are really good at doing what we do. Let's make sure that we are educating ourselves where we need to have those gaps filled, and hiring out for when we don't want to fulfill those gaps ourselves. With that, I want to thank everybody so very much for joining us for this International Women in Business Mastermind conversation with LaVonne Shields. I have copied or have taken a good number of screenshots, and when our live video concludes, I will go back and I will add all of our screenshots to this conversation on Facebook. And then I will also add them all to our YouTube channel so that you can all join us as we continue this journey. Every month long, the Empowerment Empire sponsors the International Women in Business Mastermind. This is to feature women business owners from around the globe sharing their expertise, their knowledge, their insights. So with that, we have another program coming up that I want to mention, and it's going to be starting August 15th. It's a 5-part program that is power planning for business women. You have seen it all over social media. You have been emailed about it if you are on our email list. And it continues to follow with, several of the important comments that LaVonne made, was that have a group, have some resources that are going to help you put all of these things into place. How do we continue to, we're all busy, but we make ourselves busy. We prioritize what we are going to be busy with. So I don't want to hear that excuse from anybody that I'm too busy.
You want to be in business, but not a busy mess.
I like that. I like that a lot. So I will post in the comments the event details for the next one coming up on August 15th. And I want to thank LaVonne for your time, for your generosity, for sharing your insights. I will circle back with you and circle back with everyone on the live program. If you have registered for this as an attendee, you will receive the recording yourself. If there are any questions, please reach out to me. With that, thank you so very much, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday, rest of your week. Continue to absorb the knowledge that you know you need to become that phenomenal business owner that you are destined to be.
Thank you so much. I am so honored to have been here. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out. You can have the screenshot that have my contact information, and let me know. I can also send this to you in the presentation in PDF form too, in case there are some shots that you missed. You're able to get the whole thing. Just let me know. I'll be happy to share that. I mean, this is my regular talk, so I have no problem sharing the information. So again, thank you so much. I'm so honored to have been a part of this. I'm so honored that there's a organization like yours that's doing this for everyone and for women in business. So keep doing what you're doing, that voodoo that you do, because there are so many who are benefiting from that. Even if they aren't here live, they're able to follow up. So I am so honored that I was able to meet you and be able to be here to share this. And like I said, hopefully it was beneficial. At bare minimum, I'm pretty sure it was a little entertaining. So
absolutely.
Counting on a Wednesday.
Thank you, LaVonne. Have a great rest of your day. Definitely send me over the PDF. I'll post it. And we will be in touch another time soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.